Hi everyone, it's Darsie Bruno for Just Right Papercraft. For Tutorial Tuesday, I'll be showing you how to create backgrounds with Just Right stamps and Imagine Crafts walnut inks and crystals. So let's get started. Walnut ink crystals are very concentrated and a little bit goes a long way. Simply add crystals to your cardstock and begin spritzing them with a water mister. Add more crystals for more coverage. Spritzing in different directions will make the ink flow and swirl. You can let it air dry or use a heat gun to shorten the drying time. Wipe off excess water and ink with a tissue and allow to dry thoroughly. Stamp one of the many border stamps by Just Right with Versamark and emboss with black embossing powder. Then decorate as desired for a pretty vintage card. For the next project, spritz lilac walnut ink onto white cardstock and allow to dry. Stamp the left side of the panel using Ornate Corners clear stamps with Versamark and emboss with clear powder. Spritz cornflower walnut ink onto your panel and allow to dry. Stamp the right side of the panel using Ornate Corners with Versamark and emboss with clear powder. Using a wet one, gently wipe away the excess ink from the embossed areas on your panel. Spritz the walnut ink antiquing solution onto tissue and gently wipe along the edges and corners to give it a vintage look. With a wet one, blend the inks on the panel and allow to dry. Decorate as desired for another vintage creation. For our last project, stamp white cardstock using stitched vines with Versamark and emboss with white powder. Turn the panel over and repeat the process using the Grand Damask background stamp. Spritz a wet one with eucalyptus walnut ink and rub the ink onto the stitched vines side of the panel. Spritz a wet one with cherry blossom walnut ink and rub the ink onto the Grand Damask side. You can add more ink for a darker appearance. Take a wet one and moisten the panel, and then roll the right side downward to the center. Hold in place until it stays in that position. Spritz one panel with cherry blossom ink and another with eucalyptus and allow to dry. To dye ribbon to match the card, simply spritz the ribbon with eucalyptus ink and allow to dry. I'm using seam binding for my project. Cut and emboss Just Right's Heirloom Flourish 1 die from the eucalyptus panel using your die cutting machine. Stamp a sentiment from Celebration Sentiments Clear Stamps using Versamark onto the upper right portion of the cherry blossom panel and emboss with white powder. Glue the rolled panel to the cherry blossom panel. Add a white panel behind it and glue to a green card. Add a foam square to the folded edge and glue to the panel. I use glue on my foam dots so it can have a bit of a wiggle room to position it how I want it to look. Add the Heirloom Flourish 1 die cut and finish your card off with a bow and pearls as you desire. As you can see, playing with walnut inks and Just Right stamps can achieve beautiful results.